Howdy, folks. I'm domineering Dogwood Tree, dogmatically declaring doubtful drivel.
I'm Amber.
And here's more doubtful drivel for us to declare. Or maybe just Reddit. Kind of the same thing, right? Am I right?
To the detractors of Reddit, sure.
Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not appreciating the surprise getaway that my husband planned? For the past month, my husband, a 27-year-old male, and I, a 28-year-old female, have been in a rut. We have been arguing about so many trivial things. Last week, he randomly asked me if I like eating s'mores. I said that I don't care for them, and I rarely do ever crave them. He then asked me what I thought of cabins and camping. I told him that I don't care for that either, to be honest, and that the only way that I would go camping is if it was a glamping experience. He nodded and said noted. Today, he tells me to be ready and dressed by 4 p.m. because we have dinner planned. I put on a cute outfit because he told me that we were going to have a special date planned. Any other time he said that, the date usually involves us going out to a fancy restaurant. So I put on a skirt, some heels, and a top. He sees my outfit and says nothing. The only thing that I noticed that was odd was that he brought a backpack with him. I asked him why, and he said that he just wanted to put his hoodie somewhere in case it gets cold later. We get into the car, and 20 minutes into the drive, I ask him how far is this restaurant that we're going to, and he smiles and says about an hour. I pull out my phone and start responding to some work emails to kill some time. And then, when we arrived to our destination, I honestly got so upset. It was a super tiny trailer in the middle of the woods in West Virginia. There was a small picnic table outside and just woods. I ask him what we are doing out there, and he turns to me and says, "Surprise, we're having a couples retreat. Do you like it?" I walk inside the trailer, and mind you, my husband knows that I'm extremely claustrophobic. There is no room inside this trailer. I start panicking because A, I need physical space, and B, I'm in heels and a skirt in the middle of the woods. C, he packed pajamas, his toothbrush, and a change of clothes, but he didn't think to tell me that I would be needing anything for this date. At that point, I just blatantly ask him, have I ever expressed any interest in camping to you? And he said no. And then I followed up with, you know how much I hate small spaces. What made you think that I would enjoy this? I just really want to understand. And he doesn't say anything. I told him that I appreciated the gesture, but I could not for the life of me figure out how he thought that planning this in any way that it was going to help us get out of this rut. This isn't the first time that he's planned something for me that I hated. And the worst thing, I've told him before that if I've never expressed interest in something, to please not gift it to me or plan a date around it. I do a very good job at giving him extremely thoughtful gifts and planning him very thoughtful dates and experiences. And today I told him that it just seems like there isn't any consideration for me in that regard. Am I the jerk for reacting the way that I did? Alright folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk, and I can see why their relationship is in a bit of a rut.
Oh?
It seems like he had no consideration for OP at any step of the process. He's like, hey, do you like s'mores? Not really. Do you like camping? Not really. You know what? I'm going to take her camping.
Into a claustrophobic space.
Well, yeah, and then on top of it, she's claustrophobic, so claustrophobic space, he sees her put on heels and a skirt and, doesn't think to pack her a change of clothes, doesn't think to pack her pajamas, doesn't think to pack her toothbrush, but thinks to pack all those things for himself. He knows his own comfort. He makes sure he's going to have the things to make himself comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But not once does he think, maybe camping in heels and a skirt isn't the most desirable thing. Maybe I should, talk to her.
Yeah, I just want to know what he was hoping to accomplish here, right? What did he expect her, how did he expect her to actually react on this? Because it seems like he only prepared himself for this trip and she was just kind of an accessory to that trip. She was just the toothbrush, essentially, right? She's there to be part of his camping experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a matter of a surprise for her. It's a nightmare for her, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. It is just so deeply inconsiderate of her in so many ways.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Purple Mars Alien says, not the jerk. I'm bewildered by the idea of him planning a camping / outdoor / overnight trip type of event and not hinting to you that dressing up for going out to dinner was a problem and not bringing along any toiletries or extra clothing for you. What was going on in this man's brain? I'm going to bring my wife into the woods in inappropriate clothing and with nothing for her to change into or sleep in, and she's going to be happy about it? I don't necessarily mind camping, but this entire experience would feel disrespectful and make me mad. And OP replies, I was very surprised to learn that he didn't pack me anything at all. If he packed me an overnight bag, I might have reacted differently. I mean, yeah, sure, I hate small spaces. Would I have enjoyed myself? Probably not. But it would have been nice to know that my partner had packed my essentials, that he was thoughtful and intentional with the planning of the trip. And Cthulhu Almighty says, curious, have you ever surprised him with dates or trips? And OP responds, yes, the most recent surprise I planned was last month. He's a big Porsche guy, so I surprised him with a trip to the Porsche Experience in Carson, California. I booked a lunch date for us at Restaurant 917 4 months in advance, and I booked him a driving experience on the track in his favorite Porsche. But did you go camping? Yeah, but did you not pack him any toiletries? And Swarden says, I have a feeling that he planned all of this before the first mention of s'mores, and instead of canceling, he doubled down. And OP replies, I think so too. And Rock in the Burb 77 says, did you stay the night or did you go straight home? And OP replies, I went home. I don't blame OP.
Yeah.
And Hot Needlework 6621 says, I need to know what he said about why he didn't pack you anything. What was his reasoning? How did he consciously pack himself a bag but not pack you anything? Not the jerk, but I really can't imagine what his reason for not packing you anything was. And OP replies, he forgot and thought that I could just wear his t-shirt if I was concerned about the whereabouts of my PJs. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for canceling a family outing because my husband invited his friend without telling me? My husband and I talked a few weeks back about bringing the kids fishing this past weekend and had talked in specific detail about us needing to reconnect as a family. He works so often that me and the kids hardly ever see him anymore. I work full-time at home, so the entire point of this fishing trip was to spend time together as a family, and as I said, it was discussed in great detail. Our youngest child is 5 months old and strictly breastfed as well. We head out Friday morning to go grab our boat and head to our camp for the weekend. Everything is going fine until about 40 minutes into the drive. Husband gets a phone call and starts saying things like, yeah, I'll be there soon, or what did you bring? When he got off the phone, I asked him who that was, and he told me Heath, a co-worker of his that I've never once met. I've asked him if he invited some random person that I don't know to go on our family outing, and he said that he did, and that he didn't think that it would be a big deal. He also said something about how his buddy wanted to check out the boat, and whatever. I've never heard a single good thing about this guy. He's very sexist and he makes gross jokes. I asked him to turn around and bring me and the kids back home. He asked me why, and I said that this trip was meant for us as a family to reconnect, and as we had discussed in great detail, and that I wouldn't be sitting around awkward, nursing a baby in front of the man that I know nothing about, and watching all of our kids when he's hanging out with his buddy. I told him that it was messed up that he would even consider this to be a good option, considering that now meant that I would be doing all of the parenting alone while he got to be social. He said that it wouldn't be like that, and that he told his buddy that this trip was meant for the kids, and that he would have them the entire time, but I honestly was just not having it at all. I know how it would have been because he said this dude brought beer, I asked. So I had him drive me home and told him to go by himself. He left mad. I ended up taking my kids on our own trip. I rented an Airbnb on the lake for the entire weekend. I brought my kids fishing, swimming, and to the amusement park down the road. We had a good time. I did not have cell reception at the Airbnb, so I didn't speak to my husband outside of texting him prior to leaving, stating that I would be gone for the weekend. When I got home Sunday morning, my husband flipped out on me, said that he had only stayed out Friday until 5 p.m., so 6-ish hours, and then came home to spend the rest of the weekend with me and the kids, just to find that we had left and he couldn't contact us. I told him that none of this would have happened if he had just stuck by his word originally instead of making it a social hour with a guy that he sees every day, out of what was meant to be a family weekend. Also allowed this dude to stay at our camp for the weekend because he apparently invited him to stay the entire weekend anyways. Am I the jerk for anything here? Alright folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. You don't invite someone on a family trip without clearing it with your other partner first. And just assume that, oh yeah, OP's gonna be fine. Like, it sounds very clearly like OP knows exactly what would happen. She knows her husband well enough to know that he's going to get trashed with his friend, and she's going to have to do all the child wrangling while being around a man who would make her uncomfortable. That doesn't sound like a good time. I can understand why OP would nope out and make her own fun.
Yeah, I mean, in the comments, I believe, basically, OP says that he spends like 30 minutes a day with the kids or something like that, so it's not a lot of time, and this was meant to be kind of a time for them to actually spend time together, right? Not to talk with his buddy and to drink, right? Now, the only place that I could possibly fault OP for would be for not really giving him explicit instructions on where they went, because in case of an emergency or something like that. But I honestly feel like a lot of people kind of go on vacation to be away from their phones and technology too. So I'm a little less concerned about that. I mean, it seems like, OP had a handle on things and that they had told him that they were going to be gone for the weekend. So it wasn't like they just disappeared off the face of the earth or anything, right?
Right. Well, and they probably weren't explicit because they didn't want him coming down and taking over when they were mad at him.
Yeah. So I get that too, right? But I mean, I think that this is one of those situations where OP is just kind of fed up with their husband. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Remarkable Prune 835 says, "You're the jerk for not being in contact. You kidnapped his children." And OP replies, "Kidnapped? That's a riot, actually. My husband sees the kids and I for exactly 20 minutes a night and then never hangs out with the kids. Tells them to go to the room so he can unwind after working. But yeah, sure, let's pretend that he actually cared." Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for having my husband bring me back to shore and leaving after we planned a whole day on the boat? My husband and I haven't been on any dates since I gave birth to our baby, a 7-month-old. I had postpartum depression, might still, and I was really isolated for a lot of my pregnancy and pretty much the entire time since the baby has been here. I'm alone for at least 16 hours a day, and when my husband is home, we have about a half hour to an hour before he goes to sleep for work, and during that time, he soaks up as much baby time as possible, which is understandable. We have intimate time, but that's just about as far as it goes, and some weeks he works 7 days a week. He literally busts his butt for us, and I do appreciate it so much. I really do. I'm just feeling really alone is all. So I communicated that to him a week ago, and he said that he was going to make time for me and that he would borrow his buddy's boat and bring me out while his mom watched the baby for the day. I was so excited. So the day before yesterday, he comes home from work early to bring me out shopping, and we grabbed some stuff that we needed, as he planned it for the next day, yesterday. We bought food, the essentials, and he told me to pick up a fishing pole because his plan was to bring me fishing for the entire day. I had been asking to go fishing for about 3 years, and we never had time. He doesn't even like fishing, so I asked if he was sure, and he specifically said, "Yes, this is for you, you need it." So I'm going to make it happen. I went to bed so excited I could hardly sleep. We headed out around 8 a.m. the next day. At first, everything was good. We launched the boat and started heading off. We are talking and laughing, which hasn't happened for so long. Around 9:30, he pulls off to the sandbar, and I'm a little confused because you can't go fishing here. But that's when I noticed that we were pulling up to 4 other boats. His friends, co-workers, and their children. About 9 other people. I asked him what we were doing, and he said, well, I told them that we were going out on the boat, and they wanted to join us. I asked for how long, because he told me that he was bringing me fishing, and this was a day for us, and he says, well, I figured I would bring you fishing before we leave for the day. I was immediately disappointed. For hours, I sat in the same spot, watching my husband talk to everyone else, or just sat alone while he followed these guys to random locations, all beach where you can't fish. They then start all drinking. They offered me some, but I was just defeated at this point. Maybe 1 to 2 p.m., I asked my husband to bring me back to shore. He says, "Wait, no, why?" I didn't answer him, and then he goes, "No, babe, I will bring you fishing. We can leave right now." So I said, "No thanks, I don't want to be here." He brought me back to shore in silence, where I already had someone waiting to pick me up. He asked me why I'm leaving with them, and that he could drive me home and leave with me. I said, "No, it's fine, go hang out. You obviously need to," and then left. He came back 40 minutes later and was irritated. He was apologizing, but at this point, you can just tell that he was angry, so it was more snappy and exasperated than anything. Says that he figured that I would appreciate socializing since I never do. I told him that this was never about my lack of social life, but my lack of spending time with him, and I had told him that when I had talked to him about a week ago. So he did this for him, not me. So he says, "Yep, sorry, I messed up your day." And then he left to go get the baby. When he came back, he didn't say much of anything to me, and then he went and left for work this morning and just said, "See you later, am I the jerk?" And for the record, he literally works on the water all day long with the guys that he invited. So every single day is a boat day and hang out for them because they only have at most 4 jobs a day, and most of the time it's just him hanging out in a boat, waiting for a call. He often jokes that he gets a twofer because when he's working, it's social hour with all of his good friends. Edit to add, I'm honestly growing tired of repeating myself, so I'm just going to make it known that my social life is not a problem in this equation. I have friends and I see them as often as I want to and need to. My problem is with my husband and I not connecting. We do not speak, kiss, nothing. The point of the trip was to reconnect as a couple and not to socialize with a bunch of strangers. For the record, there was only one woman there, a woman that quite happily got tossed around the group, who has zero interest in conversing with me. I have no desire to hang out with small children either. My husband knows this. I did try to talk to people there. I was spoken over several times. All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. I mean, sounds like husband completely changed the plans on OP. And like, even if he was concerned about her socializing, which I don't believe he was, it sounds like his friends were like, "Oh yeah, let's all hang out together." And he's like, "Yeah, let's do this." But even if he was concerned about her socializing, why didn't he set something up with OP's friends? You know, invite OP's friends out to join them or something.
Well, I mean, I think that's really the nook of this whole argument that he's made here, right? This, again, like OP said, wasn't about OP. It was about him and him being able to hang out and socialize with his friends. Because apparently hanging out with his wife is too much.
And if he thought OP was going to be just fine with it, why didn't he tell her beforehand? Why did he wait until they're literally at the shore and be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're hanging out with my buddies"?
Yeah, I mean, that should have been something that she was made aware of well ahead of time. And again, this was supposed to be, OP's clarified that it's supposed to be a trip for the two of them explicitly, right? So I think that, again, OP's right. This was probably more for him than OP. And he was going to, talk and socialize for most of the day, and then for the last couple of hours, go and fish or something like that.
And it seems like he totally forgot about her. He didn't care that she was uncomfortable, kind of hanging by herself. The people were talking over her. Why didn't he step in and make sure that she had segues in the conversation? Why didn't he try to make sure she was included?
Yeah. So it just feels like she was brought on a gathering where she was just a afterthought, really. Not so good. Not so good. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Richard, was that you singing as I came in? Fran, yes, I was killing time before my singing lesson. Richard, well, you're sure using the right weapon.
Wow. This has turned into a roast, hasn't it? Wow. And I have Mega Mint. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Manic Monday, folks. I hope your week is off to a great start. And folks, also we have a live stream on Friday. We hope to see you then. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please have it on trips.
If you're planning a trip for your partner, It should, one, involve activities you're pretty sure your partner will like, and two, not involve uninvited guests your partner either doesn't know or doesn't like.
I think that's pretty good common sense there. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!